tours. I am one of the school psychologists here. This is Mr. Kovacs. He is a school social worker and will be running your first session today. We'll be telling you a little bit about our behavioral health team, different services and supports we can provide you this school semester, how you can get a hold of us, and we'll just be talking a little bit about your mental health and your mindset in terms of returning to school and going through a pandemic and kind of a lot of stress you might be experiencing at home. And you'll have information about our contact and how to get a hold of us and hopefully some good resources. To get started, we just want to do a warm-up activity. Everyone seems like has a phone on them. What we want you to do is text Kristen Carr 250 to the number 37607. So put in 37607, and then in the message area, put Kristen Carr 250. It's on the screen up here. If you don't have a phone, I'll give you the information that you can do, and you just kind of think about how you respond. So I'll give you a minute to pull that up. And then you should get a message saying that you are now part of the poll and you've entered our group. So again, you're going to text to 37607. Text the words Kristen Carr 250. Once you get the message saying that you're part of our poll, we want you to go ahead and think of an emoji that represents how you feel right now and how you're feeling about school starting, and message that back to us. Looks like we got one up there, a few. Some of you are sleepy, that's understandable. I'm sure you've been staying up late and your schedules are off.
You guys might notice that as the emojis get bigger, those are other fellow students who are also feeling similarly. So when you see the larger emojis, that is what that means.
We'll give it another few seconds. If you're having any trouble, you can just think of emoji that kind of represents how you're thinking or feeling right now. Looks like most of us are tired. Some a little unsure, some feel good. Just kind of represents that there's a wide range of emotions in all of us kind of going through this experience. I think we feel it too, that sometimes we feel really good about coming back to school and sometimes it's overwhelming. So it's just nice to see kind of how we're all kind of coming into this situation together.
All right, guys, I'm going to jump in here. We want to do an introduction, obviously, of who the BHT team is, and when you hear BHT, what that's going to mean is Behavioral Health Team. And so I'm going to go ahead and introduce the social workers. There are 3 of us in the building here, and what you're going to notice when you look up at my slide here is that you are connected with a social worker via your alpha slice. And so as you can see here, I carry the end of the alphabet, so anywhere from letters P-A-M through the end, Z. And the other social workers will carry the beginning and then middle of the alpha. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. Again, my name is Mr. Kovacs. I'm one of the social workers here. A couple of fun facts about myself is I love to train for and run marathons. This year I was a little bit sidelined with an injury, but I'm still out there. I completed 9 and I'm looking for my 10th one sometime in the near future, but everything's canceled this year. Surprisingly, right? They don't want to put together 1 million people for the Chicago Marathon. So unfortunately, that is canceled, but I guess I picked a good time to be injured. I'm a very proud dad. That's my daughter up there, and what I've been doing for the last 5 months is essentially spending time with her. And my favorite thing about Reavis is the family atmosphere. And you guys, at the bottom of every one of these slides, you're going to see a quote that we gave. And my favorite quote is, "Comparison is the thief of joy," meaning if you spend your time comparing yourself to other people or other things instead of looking at your own strengths, you really rob yourself of the joy that you could feel for the things that make you unique. So keep that in mind. Next, some of you guys might recognize this car if you went to Liberty because she used to work at Liberty with you guys being juniors. Many of you were probably there when she was there, although we kind of stole her over here to Reavis. But she enjoys cooking and she loves coaching freshman girls and boys volleyball here at Reavis. So if you are involved in volleyball, you probably know Ms. Carr on that front. And her favorite quote there is, "If you can mention it, you can manage it," from Mr. Rogers. Next is Ms. Winnicky, and Ms. Winnicky serves that middle part of the alphabet, so anywhere from GOO to PAL, as you can see. And some interesting facts about Ms. Winnicky is that she used to live and work in Africa and can tell you some pretty cool stories about her experience there. As you guys can imagine, they are probably very interesting. She's a huge Cubs fan, although oftentimes she may get booed here on the south side, but she lived on the north side and was a huge Cubs fan. And her favorite thing about Reavis is the amount of support offered to students. Aside from the social workers, we also have a behavior coach. And some of you guys might know Ms. Hemmer. Some facts about her: she has 2 kids, Owen and Margaret. She loves to read. Her favorite book is To Kill a Mockingbird, and her favorite thing about Reavis are her co-workers. And she says her favorite quote is, "In a world where you can be anything, be kind."
Okay, again, my name is Mrs. Schwartz. I like to eat tacos. When I think about my favorite pastimes, the first thing that came to my mind was eating and sleeping, but I didn't think that sounded too interesting. So I also like to hike and bike. What I love about Reavis is I feel like it's kind of a one big family atmosphere where we're trying to help each and every student find their path and figure out where they're going to go beyond this and with their life. So I appreciate working within that environment. My favorite quote is, "Be yourself, everyone else is already taken." We also have another psychologist, Ms. Rodriguez. She's actually bilingual and also speaks Spanish. One of her favorite things to do is dance. She's got a bucket list and is pretty adventurous, and she's hoping to go skydiving. She enjoys working with groups of students at Reavis. I know she runs different groups related to anxiety, feeling overwhelmed about school, working on getting organized, social skills, so she does enjoy that. And her favorite quote is, "Believe you can, and you're halfway there." So that is our team. We work together to provide a lot of different supports. Mr. Kovacs is going to go into that a little bit more, and then we'll talk a little bit about your mindset.
Okay guys, so now that you know who is part of your behavioral health team, we want to tell you a little bit about how we can help. And if you look at the different points up there, I think that everybody could, at one point or another, find that maybe they had a need for that kind of support. I actually really like our picture up here, the help, support, advice, and guidance. That pretty much breaks down what we are here for. At different points in the 4 years that you were in high school, with you guys being juniors, you've been here for a while now, you might have a need for crisis intervention. There might be something very heavy that you have to deal with. And for us to be able to provide that support is really important for you to know that we're there to provide that support. And these, may be some events that happen in your life that are really heavy. And we would really encourage you guys to speak up at those times and seek us out for support and assistance, because those are going to be some of the times when you may need it the most. We also can help you find positive solutions to problems. And that can go from a wide range of things, whether it is in the classroom, out of the classroom, having to do with friends, having to deal with other social interactions. We can sit down and just kind of help you maybe identify what some ways to move forward are. Developing healthy coping strategies, you guys are going to hear so much about that at this time, and those are the things you do every day to take care of yourself, not just physically, but emotionally as well. And we'll go into some of those things in later slides, but we can sit down with you and help you identify healthy coping strategies. Developing appropriate social interaction skills when you're in high school, wherever you identify yourself, whether you fall on the end of kind of being a little bit more reserved and quiet, or whether you are just that person who loves to be out there, the way that we interact with one another really has a large bearing on how we face the day and how we have a successful day and in turn semester and year. And so if you ever find yourself having a little bit of difficulty with those kinds of skills, that's another area that we're here to help. And also academic intervention strategies. It might be studying for a test. It might be organizing, preparing in a class. All the different things that are going to make you successful. And as you guys navigate the remote learning that you'll be doing, please see that we are a resource in potentially being able to help you identify some ways to manage that as well, because that is obviously going to be a very big part of the start of our school year here. So these are some different ways that we can help. Where to find us? If you want to seek out the support and help, you gotta know where to find us. So most of you guys here, obviously being juniors, know where the library is. Well, if you look at the library, you'll see a sign above it that says Student Services. When you walk into the library, you're going to see that on the right side, Ms. Hemmer is pointing to where her office is. And if you ever have a time where you're meeting up with Ms. Hemmer, she's a little tucked away there, so know that her office is to the right. And then the shores back there is pointing to the guidance area, where typically you guys may see your academic counselors, social workers, psychologists are also housed in that hallway. That is where you would go to find us. On the website, okay, so you guys, obviously there's going to be a good amount of remote learning as well. You can access our support via the website. So if you go to the main page, you're going to see a drop down, and we are under Behavioral Health Team. And I know it's really hard to see here. Student Services is the start, and then Behavioral Health Team. If you go there, you are going to find our page with Behavioral Health Team. We've got the breakdown by alphabet, so you'll see who to select. We have our contact information, including our phone numbers and extensions, so if there's a time where you feel like, hey, I'm going to pick up that phone, and I'm going to call, whether you get us directly or leave a message, kind of old school, but you can definitely do it that way. Shoot us a text. All of our information is on this page, so please familiarize yourself with this. And those are just the little areas that you're going to check and see the contacts. And then also, I want to let you guys know that for each of the social workers, there is a Google form. So you might, honestly, I've gotten requests at all hours. It might be 10:30 at night, and you're like, let me just sign up to see my social worker. We'll get an indication that you signed up, and then we'll get back to you.
Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about mindset. I think we all would agree there's a lot going on right now, not just with return to school, but also in the world and with COVID and just a lot of uncertainty about our future. I would also say it's safe to say that you, your friends, your family, us, might be experiencing a rise in negative emotions. So you might be feeling more anxious, more worried, more angry, more sleepy, lacking motivation, stress, a lot more negative emotions that you're not used to. It's also probably true that you might be getting triggered more, where maybe you feel okay, and then all of a sudden something changes with how you're going back to school or what's happening in your family, maybe a job loss of a family member. So there's just a lot happening right now, and it can be a lot for all of us. And what's important to know is you're going through uncertain times and changes in environments and stress, whether it's at home or with school, is to know where your mindset is. So mindset is your thoughts and your beliefs about that you collect over time and that you use in different experiences or when you interact with reality. And sometimes your mindset determines how you kind of go through those emotions or react or approach different situations. And when we describe mindset, sometimes I like to think about it as a maze. So right now, if you thought about coming back to school, some of you might be stuck at that start of the maze and you don't want to enter. You're kind of thinking like, I've been home for 6 months, I'm not motivated to think about school, I'm kind of overwhelmed about sometimes being home, sometimes being at school, the thought of it maybe going remote, or a fear of that. You might be just tired and overwhelmed, and you don't even want to think about it, or you're stuck and you don't even know how to get out of those thoughts. Some of you might be in the maze. You know, you're here today, you want to give it a shot, you're not quite sure how remote learning is going to look like, or going to school, you're a little concerned, you're not sure if you can do it, but you're going to give it a try. And so you're almost thinking like, okay, this is a lot, but I'll go ahead and give it a try and see how things go. Some of you might be thinking, great, we're going back to school, I can't wait. I need this. I'm already organizing my supplies and my materials. I have a spot set up in my home where I'm going to work. I'm making plans on how to study. I can't wait for this. I need this. I need something different. I did not like being home in the spring. So I want you to take a minute and think about, where are you with that maze right now? Are you stuck and you're not quite sure where to go? Maybe you don't even want to be stuck, but you're not quite sure what steps to take forward. Are you going through that maze and just feeling a little bit lost, but you kind of want to try this, and you're anxious to kind of get back to a routine and make things better? Or do you feel like you have kind of like that growth positive mindset of, I'm organized, I'm motivated, and I want to do this? So in thinking of your mindset, know a couple key things. Is that thoughts are just thoughts. They don't mean anything, your actions do. So even if you're having a lot of negative thoughts, that doesn't mean that determines how you behave or how you act. You do. Also know that mindsets can change. So you might be feeling really well 1 minute and then stuck another. And as long as you can kind of evaluate yourself and determine where you're at, you can change your mindset at any time. You have the power to do that. Last thing is, just know that when you're thinking about your thoughts when it comes to school or COVID or life, it's important to evaluate, do your thoughts serve you and help you in this situation, or are they hurting you? And then trying to make adjustments from there.
Okay, juniors, class of 2022. Before you guys came in this week, we hosted freshmen, we hosted sophomores, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys, we gave them this presentation as well, right? And I'm looking around, and you guys know this building, you guys know this school, unless you're new, you transferred in, and if you did, I would definitely welcome you to come and talk to one of us, obviously, talk to your peers, classmates, teachers, and whatnot. And when you hear some of this information, some of it is stuff that you probably heard before. You probably heard a lot of it before. You've often heard somebody say, the word cliche. And cliche basically means, oh, that's something everybody says, yeah, I've heard it, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But they become that way because they're true. And I know we're presenting you guys with a lot of heavy stuff. On the first day that you've walked back into the building in 5 months, right? Like, that is a lot to take in. We're talking about mindset and all these heavy thoughts and emotions, right? I want to kind of break down here for you guys some really everyday ways to take care of yourself, okay? And I'm going to kind of look for a little bit of interaction, a little bit of participation here that really doesn't even have to go beyond the hand raise, right? So I'm looking out at the audience and kind of recognizing some of you guys, and I promise I won't call you out, so I won't do that to you. But I want to go through some different ways of taking care of yourself. And if you identify with one of those ways, like if you're looking at that, as I go through them, I'm going to ask you to raise your hand and let us know if one of these is more appealing or more effective to you. Ms. Schwartz is handing out some resource cards that you guys can take a look at, and they may even provide some information on how to access some of this information to take care of yourself. But I'm going to start with focusing on breathing, right? I don't know about you guys, and this is going to sound kind of strange, but sometimes I feel like I forget to breathe. Like when things are really stressful, or if I'm feeling anxious, or if I've got a lot of expectations on me, and I'm really kind of like getting myself worked up, and I'm like, I feel like I forgot to breathe, okay? Breathing is a really great way to bring balance to how you feel physically, which in turn will help you bring balance to how you feel emotionally. And if you guys go on YouTube, or you look at the app stores, there are countless apps, and there are meditations and things you can do on YouTube, and I really encourage you guys to take a look at some of that information and practice it. Breathing techniques are things you can do anywhere. So whether you are in a classroom or you are at home, even the simple act of taking a slow breath in for 3 seconds, holding it for 1 second, and then breathing out for 3 seconds, If you can focus on that, even for 1 minute, you will see how effective that can be. Positive self-talk. First of all, before I move on to that one, does anyone here practice any sort of meditation or breathing exercises? I would love it if they were brave enough to acknowledge that they do something like this. Anybody ever practice anything like that? If you haven't, we're going to have a similar exercise to kind of wrap up this presentation for you guys. We got to move quickly here. Unfortunately, we only have a few minutes. We got started a little bit late. But positive self-talk. If you're going to take one thing from this list, you guys, the way you talk to yourself matters. Please think about that for a second. The way you talk to yourself matters. Be positive with yourself. Be optimistic with yourself. It will help balance out some of those difficult feelings. Please really pay attention to that one. Social support, whether you find it through friends, family, teachers, whoever, the point here is please don't shut yourself down. Please reach out to others for that support. Exercise and physical activity, as I told you guys, I'm a marathon runner. I feel like I really, walk the walk with this one. It does make a big difference in reducing your stress level, and you may not even feel it at the time, but it's what's called a cumulative effect, meaning that the more you do it, the better you're going to feel over time. Healthy nutrition options, guys. In the day, if you could replace one snack or one drink with a healthy option like fruit or water, do it once, build a habit from it. Do it once in a day, turn that to twice in a day. Before you know it, you'll be building habits. And getting enough sleep, you guys, this one couldn't be any more obvious, but you would not drive your car without gas. It would go nowhere. Eventually, your body will do the same if it's not being refueled. So please, you hear the rule, 8 hours of sleep a night. That may not always happen, but what you're really looking for is quality sleep on a consistent basis. So really you want to try to aim for anywhere from 7 to 8 hours a night, but consistently if and when possible. Okay, starting strong. I'm going to kind of go quickly through this, you guys. As you can see, we have a picture of the start of a race. And the point of that picture is to say that everybody comes to a race, everybody comes to the start line with something that they're doing differently, with different abilities, different goals, different mindsets. Okay, and you guys are all coming to that starting line of the school year. As you are about to start this school year, we really encourage you to be patient and understand that your needs are going to change through the year. The needs of others are going to change through the year, and it's going to really pull on your need to be patient with yourself and with others. Adjust and accept things that look and feel different. That's an obvious one. But the more we can kind of roll with the changes we have, the more effective we're going to be. Be an example, treat others the way you hope to be treated. What you put out there for others and for yourself will really make a difference. Being optimistic, I go back to the idea of positive self-talk. What you say to yourself matters, and most importantly at the end, ask for help. Please never be afraid to ask somebody and just say, hey, I'm having a hard time. Can you help me? How can you help me?
Okay, our last thing of today is we just want to do a short activity with visual and mental imagery to teach you kind of how to control your thoughts when you get overwhelmed or you find yourself being too negative or you're feeling stressed. So what I want you to do right now is sit comfortably, close your eyes, put your phones away, and take a break for a minute. So I want you to mentally leave Reavis and imagine being in your favorite place. That can be your favorite vacation spot, or a friend's house, someone's backyard, or maybe even just walking around the city with your friends. Once you imagine yourself in that place, I want you to use your senses to fully engage in that environment. What do you hear? Can you hear people laughing? The sound of music or waves? Who are you with? Or maybe are you alone? What do you see? Can you see water and sand? Maybe a fire pit or a city skyline? I want you just to think about this for a minute. No negative thoughts, just in that vacation spot, taking a mental break, relaxing. when you're ready, you can open your eyes. That was just a quick activity that shows you have the power to kind of control your thoughts and give yourself a break when needed. Hopefully you feel a little bit calmer and at peace. You're going to have a lot of presentations today, so make sure you're stretching and kind of moving around. And that's about it. We're happy to help you all each this school year. Wishing you a strong start. You're going to stay in this room, and the next presentation will start in about a few minutes.
Guys, thank you very much. It was really good to see you all, and welcome back.